ethics committees to approve it, to go through the informed consent and to make sure that participants are protected. So it's a wonderful journey, and as I said, I feel very emotional, and I'm very grateful to Morena for entrusting the MRC and me to be part of this progress towards this oral cholera vaccine. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Gray. I would now like to call on the CEO of Biovac, Dr. Morena Makwana, to give some remarks.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Greetings to the Minister and the Deputy Minister, and to the MEC of Health, I think who's making her way, and to the CEO of BARA as well, and all protocol. Today is, I think I wouldn't have said it better than what Glenda said in terms of being emotional about today. Biovac started in 2003 under extremely difficult circumstances when vaccine manufacture was not, sexiest of industry. We've been hard at it in terms of trying to this capability of end-to-end. I'll show a slide now. I just only have one slide that will talk about this particular project. But what also makes me extremely emotional today is that, when they say somebody is the son of the soil, I was born in Soweto. So this is my cousin. This is my cousin. I was born in a section called Rockville, but my high school is 2 kilometers from here. So I matriculated in Immaculata in Zone 2. This is Zone 6. And so for me to come here, I was just reflecting, it would have been so beautiful for some of the high school students if we had better organized for them to come and see what is possible, that you can matriculate from here and you can do the wonderful things that we're about to tell you. So it's a real great day for me personally, and a great pride for me to be able to take you through this. Before I show the slide, we also have our journey, before cholera. This is a journey that Biovac has been attempting to develop vaccines for a long time. Now, many of you would know that we are known mainly to be full finish, where we bring the already made ingredients and then we just put them into small vials. That's what we normally refer to. But Biovac has been trying to develop vaccines for the longest time. We have been successful in developing the vaccine. What we haven't been successful in is taking them through clinical trials. We developed our first vaccine. It was against a disease called Haemophilus that causes otitis media and meningitis. We were successful in developing that vaccine, but the commercial merits were not fantastic, and we kept it in the fridge, and we ended up out licensing to others. 2 companies, one in Indonesia and one in Japan, have used the South African-made technology for Haemophilus, and they are using it now in commercial. So vaccines can be developed locally. We had a second attempt at developing an end-to-end vaccine, and that was against a disease called Group B strep, GBS, which is still a problem till today. Very complex vaccine, but funding ran out, unfortunately, and we couldn't take it into clinical. So in 2022, when we got the opportunity with the International Vaccine Institute, plus the base technology, the opportunity was rife, and we said, surely third time we should be lucky. So this is our third time lucky, and this is the first time that we are actually able to take a product into clinical trials. And so you can imagine, just the emotions that encompass after many attempts, after failure. And I'd also like to acknowledge our board. In 2019, when the funding stopped for our Group B strep, we were really at the threat of dissolving our R&D department. Because what were they going to do is a very expensive department to run, is all the scientists that are there. But I'd like to acknowledge our board, who then were persuaded that we should keep that unit going. And look today, they were able to take technology, they were able to bring the South African know-how into it, they were able to take it through the regulatory scrutiny, and here we are today talking about clinical. So that's a little bit of the journey that we've undergone. If just my one slide can be put up as I go through this. Oral cholera, people have been asking us about the oral cholera and saying, but why? And mainly a lot of the questions have come from South Africans. Whenever we go elsewhere, people are saying, yay, it's good. It's good that you're doing cholera because it's needed. And I think it's important that we as South Africans, firstly, after we actually, in actual fact, I must just go one step back. We signed the cholera vaccine before the outbreaks that we saw, I think in a few of our provinces. And I think then it made sense to others when we then made the oral cholera vaccine that, oh, maybe it's relevant for South Africa. But it's quite endemic, as Professor Gray has said to others. So I think if we can press, sorry, I don't have the, and it's on animation. So maybe we can just do this too. So I was saying that it takes a village to raise a child. This is the story of the oral cholera vaccine. It's a relevant disease. It's afflicting a lot of countries, even within the borders of South Africa. It's a very relevant disease, and as Professor Gray, over 1 billion people can be affected by it. We were enabled with the base technology from the International Vaccine Institute, and I hope they are streaming live and they couldn't be here. But we really got a very wonderful technology that they gave us that Biovac then took through the value chain. This part about our history that I've just outlined, that this technology found itself at least in a company that wanted to do something about it. We had some knowledge, we had scars to show from our history, but it could not be possible if it wasn't for the funders that I think if we click through, you will see as they come through. As South Africa, we know that we do not have much funding, particularly for R&D. And these are some of the funders that I'd like to acknowledge, being the Gates Foundation, Wellcome Trust, Open Philanthropies, and Alma Philanthropies, who I think are here as well. And so it would not have been possible outside of that. I think the vaccine ecosystem is important, Minister and Deputy Minister, in terms of what the country has. We often complain about what we don't have as a country. And I think we should continue complaining. But I think on another hand, we should acknowledge that which South Africa has already done in terms of at least putting some percentage of funding towards research. The MRC, and we know that MRC also had a lot of even the current but the South African government and I think Treasury and Department of Health work very hard to make sure that it's kept afloat. And now here we are today working with the likes of the MRC, who are going to do beautiful work. I was saying that I didn't have to call many people. Glenda came, she was first to mind, made one call, and it was done. The rest we were going to sort out. So it was not even a shopping exercise to say, where was I going to go? But there's a wonderful personality, but also there's the MRC that I think all South Africans should be extremely proud of. And obviously we couldn't have done it without the help of the universities and the South African. I think my last 2 points relate to the regulator. We are getting into clinical trials. I think it's important to know that as this vaccine has been approved by SAMRC to go into clinical trial. Now, we'll still have to go to SAMRC once it's completed and get it to license. But this particular aspect is the first time that we have our own regulator scrutinizing a locally made vaccine from our facilities where it was manufactured, what we call drug substance, which is the first. South Africa has never had drug substance capability. Drug substance, that's where you really do the actual raw ingredients. SAMRC came and evaluated us and gave us a GMP certificate. That was one side that they had to approve. The second part that they had to approve was the design of the clinical trial, which the MRC and IVI helped us complete. So as we go into clinical trials, this has been scrutinized by the regulator for us to go into the next step. And that for us is powerful because obviously we need to make sure that we have quality assured vaccines, but also we can walk the journey with our regulator whilst they have to keep the regulatory hat, but we also hope that they will also walk this beautiful journey. And as the product becomes licensed, we're also hoping to get what is termed WHO pre-qualification, which will be an international accreditation for us to be able to supply to UN agencies. My last bit relates to where are we going to sell this product to, and who is in the community to make this available. So the product will be licensed locally once we are completed. It will be registered here, and if the South African government wants to buy it for either outbreaks or to have stockpiles, we will be very happy to make it available. But also the likes of UNICEF and Gavi, who are large UN agencies that buy for the most afflicted countries, have cholera vaccine as one of the top priority vaccines for which they would like to have more manufactured. As we sit today, WHO and UNICEF are buying from one vaccine manufacturer that's based in South Korea, who are doing a good job. However, unfortunately, it means that UN agencies don't have diversity of supply. That is where the likes of Biovac needs to come in, and maybe others that need to come in so that there's diversity of supply, but also that our continent can be supplied from the continent. So we will need some of these agencies to be able to do that. And I think that's and obviously, as I say, even our African counterparts, the AU, and what they'll need to put. So with those few words, I'd just like to acknowledge the 350 people that we couldn't squeeze into the slide. Biovac has around 350 people, for which we wouldn't be here. I'm just their spokesperson, really. But we have some of them in the audience here in Johannesburg. Many of them are in Cape Town. Some of them are traveling. These are people scientists that were able to take the technology, look at it, and say, we are going to do good. They had to look within the quality control environment. We had engineers that had to build some of the facilities that needed to be here. We had a regulatory, we had the human capital and the finance to be able to make sure that we're responsible with the funding that we are getting, and ultimately that we also get the product through the regulatory scrutiny. So I can't say thanks enough to the Biovac staff, but Biovac staff, you still have a lot more work to do, but I'd just like to acknowledge you for the work that you have done. On that quick note, thank you, Michelle, and I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Morena, for walking us through your journey, and to Biovac for your stubborn persistence in getting to this point. So the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation has been a stalwart in promoting, building and supporting science, technology and innovation in South Africa, including in the vaccine arena. And they continue to demonstrate their commitment in this regard. And this is again demonstrated by the presence of our next speaker, the Honourable Deputy Minister, Ms. Nomalungelo Gina. I would like to invite you on to say a few words.
Just a second. Thank you very much. I'm telling him that we've got a lot of doctors here. I see him sweating and sweating. I'm saying he will be sorted out today. Thank you. Thank you very much, Program Director. Yes, and I'm not, yeah. Okay, yeah, exactly. The lights can be on because I'm not projecting anything. Thank you very much, Program Director. Let me greet you, Minister Mswaledi for Health, my sister, the MEC. Thank you very much that you are here. To CEO of Biovac, my brother Morena, and the whole board, the entire board of Biovac. Greetings to you. All the funders that are here, the partners that are here on this beautiful day where we are really celebrating and we are happy as a country, where we are saying this is indeed a historical moment for us, where we are launching as South Africa what has been developed in the country. I hope we are all excited. When I came here, Minister, people were very excited, and Glenda was saying she can't even speak the way she is excited, and I really assured her that I think we are all excited. We all know that cholera remains a dangerous disease, and it continues to threaten the lives and the well-being of many communities across Africa. The fact that we are gathered here today to witness the start of this pivotal trial of a South African developed oral cholera vaccine. It's both a scientific achievement and also a symbol of hope of many people in the country and across the continent. While the vaccine is undergoing the clinical testing, this is part of the process to gather the vaccine registered in our country and the WHO pre-qualified, and we are excited, Morena, as we have said. What we are celebrating today is the capability and the confidence that South Africa now possesses an ability to design, an ability to develop and test and also manufacture vaccine within our own borders. And it's something to be celebrated indeed. This achievement is not the work of one organization alone. It is a result of partnerships, which includes so many Biovac, SAMRC, industry partners, academic researchers, and global funders, such as Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, local philanthropy, ELMA, as they have been said. And we are here today to say, through that collaboration, really, we know that we wouldn't be here. And thank you very much for that. The Department of Science, Technology and Innovation's decadal plan, that is, we have a plan that takes us from 2022 to 2032. It places health innovation at the center of South Africa's science and technology agenda. One of the core objectives of our decadal plan is to build a domestic capabilities for the discovery and the development and the manufacturing of the vaccines within the country. This aligns directly to the Africa's Union's goal for continental vaccine self-reliance and our government's broader economic reconstruction and recovery plan. Together, when you look at these frameworks, they aim to ensure that by 2040, Africa will be producing at least 60% of the vaccines it requires. To achieve this, the Department of Science, Technology and Innovation is implementing a vaccine innovation and manufacturing strategy, commonly known as VIMS, which supports the development of vaccines targeting diseases of local and regional importance, including so many other diseases like the Rift Valley fever, the HPV, the RSV, and the hepatitis B. This cholera vaccine project adds to that growing pipeline of innovation and reflects how government, researchers, and industry are aligning efforts to strengthen Africa's preparedness against current and future pandemics. Today, we are here, we are celebrating through sustained investments, partnerships, and policy support. We are cultivating a vibrant innovation ecosystem capable of delivering health solutions not only for South Africa and not only for South Africans, but for the entire continent. Let us take this opportunity to commend the scientists, the researchers, funders, and institutions who have brought us to this point. Your work represents the best of what science can achieve when guided by purpose and supported by collaboration. As government, we remain firmly committed to supporting initiatives that advance local manufacturing, technology transfer, and the commercialization of scientific discoveries. These are not only health imperatives, but they are also economic opportunities that contribute to job creation, skills development, and industrial growth. As I close, today's launch reaffirms our belief that South Africa's scientific community stands ready to lead Africa's health innovation agenda. Together, through partnerships such as this one, we will continue to build future where Africans have equitable access to life-saving vaccines made in Africa for Africa. Thank you very much, Biovac, for the wonderful job that you've done. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, for those inspiring words and for your department's continued commitment to supporting this vaccine ecosystem in South Africa. I would now like to warmly welcome the MEC for Health in Gauteng, Ms. Nkomo Ralahoho, who will deliver some remarks, but also to introduce the Honourable Minister of Health.
Thank you, Program Director. Good morning. Morning. Let me greet our Minister, Dr. Aaron Mzwaledi, our Deputy Minister of Technology and Innovation, Dr. Namalungelo China, CEO of Biovac, Dr. Morena Makwane, Director General of International Vaccine Institute, Dr. Jerome Kim, Professor Glenda Gray, and SAMRC team. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is an honor for me to join you at this historic moment of launching South Africa's first fully locally developed vaccine for over 50 years. This is not just a scientific breakthrough, it is a symbol of African innovation and resilience and our collective pursuit of health sovereignty. I'm particularly proud that this moment is unfolding right here in Gauteng, and more especially here at Chris Hani Baragwanath Academic Hospital, the largest hospital in the Southern Hemisphere. And Bara is not just a health facility, it is a place of hope and a place of healing for thousands and a symbol of Province's commitment for public health excellence. So today's launch of this vaccine clinical trial comes at a time when we know that far too well the devastating impact of cholera. Just in 2023, our communities in Hammanskraal and parts of Tshwane experienced a tragic cholera outbreak and claimed lives and shattered families. As a Department of Health then, we stood side by side with the people of Hammanskraal during that painful time, providing care and support. This vaccine then is a response to that pain. It is a proactive step to ensure that no community in South Africa or on the continent is left vulnerable to such a deadly but preventable disease. For the communities like Hammanskraal, for our informal settlements, and for our communities across Africa, this vaccine offers new hope. The fact that the vaccine is being My apology. That's the disadvantage. The fact that this vaccine is being developed by Africans for Africa is what makes this moment significant for the solution. For too long, our continent has been dependent on important solutions, and today with partners like Biovac, South African Medical Research Council, International Vaccine Institute, and support from global foundations, we are proving that Africa can lead in scientific research and vaccine development. We are not just launching a clinical trial, we are launching a new chapter in public health where local manufacturing, local innovation, and local solutions become the norm, not the exception. So this aligns perfectly with the African Union's goal to produce 60% of vaccines used on the continent by 2030. As Gauteng then, we are proud to be part of this transformation. We thank all the partners involved for choosing Soweto and for choosing our people as the foundation for this game-changing initiative. Program Director, now allow me the privilege to introduce the keynote speaker for the day, a health leader who has long championed access to equitable health care. The strengthening of our public health care system, this is the man that has been behind this, and Africa's scientific growth. So please join me welcoming the Minister of Health of the Republic of South Africa, Dr. Aaron Mzwaledi, to come and address us. Thank you.
Program Director, Dr. Michelle Melder from South African Medical Research Council, my colleague, the Deputy Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Nomalungelo Kina, my colleague, the MEC for Health and Wellness in Gauteng Province, Meno Mantung Komorale Hoko, Dr. Morena Mukwana, Chief Executive Officer of Biovac, with your scientists, engineers, technicians, and your board, Professor Glenda Gray, the Medical Research Council Chief Scientific Officer, and distinguished professor at the Faculty of Health Sciences, Wits University. The CEO of Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital, Dr. Ntabise Makhan, distinguished guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is indeed a great honor and privilege to join you today for this historic occasion, to witness the launch of oral cholera vaccine clinical trial for South Africa's first fully manufactured vaccine from end to end since the beginning of time. I stand here filled with pride and optimism for what this moment represents for our nation and the African continent as a whole. This is indeed a momentous day. For the first time in history, a vaccine ready for pivotal clinical trial has been developed, produced from start to finish, right here in Africa and on South African soil. This milestone is about reclaiming our country's capability to innovate and manufacture vaccines and to protect the health of our people, the people of Africa, and global recipients through global procurement processes. In the past, South Africa had limited capacity to produce vaccines locally, and this still continues. With our country relying on imports from other nations, the COVID-19 pandemic exposed the dangers of this dependence, where access to life-saving vaccines was often determined not by need, but by geography and global inequities. Today, we take a decisive step towards changing that story. We're changing our own story and writing our new chapter in history. Building local vaccine manufacturing capability, not just a luxury, it is a national necessity. It strengthens our sovereignty, enhances our health security, and ensures that our people are not left behind when the next global health crisis strikes. When we can research, develop, and manufacture vaccines locally, we reduce our vulnerability to supply chain disruptions, geopolitical pressures, international market competition, and vaccine hoarding or vaccine nationalism, which was apparent during the height of COVID-19 pandemic. Local production of oral cholera vaccine will enable our country and the continent to respond swiftly, decisively, and equitably for our citizens and our neighbors. This development is perfectly aligned with South Africa's G20 priorities. As you know, our theme for this G20 is solidarity, equality, and sustainability, which call for distributed manufacturing, fair allocation mechanisms, and global cooperation frameworks that aim equity at every stage of responding to health issues, among others. We firmly believe that strong local and regional science and innovation ecosystems are vital for being prepared to handle outbreaks such as cholera. To be truly ready, every country must have access to all three critical tools: diagnostics, therapeutics, and vaccines. Diagnostic allow for early detection and containment. Therapeutics save lives by reducing the severity of the disease. And vaccines provide both prevention and protection, stopping outbreaks before they spread. The more we innovate in these areas, the more resilient we become as a nation and as a continent. This aligns fully with the pandemic agreement adopted by the World Health Organization member states during the 78th World Health Assembly, which was held in May this year, which emphasizes vaccine equity as a cornerstone of global health security. Perhaps it might be important to explain this because it's a very important development in the world, and it was not really widely publicized. At the end of the COVID pandemic, the world, led by the World Health Organization, were worried about what's going to happen if the next pandemic arrives. And perhaps I'm using a wrong word when I say if. The correct word is when. Much as it is not good, but we are dead sure that another pandemic is coming. And so the World Organization wanted the world to be ready for it. So they introduced a body called IGN, or Intergovernmental Negotiating Body. France and South Africa were selected as the two countries which must lead the negotiations, chair the negotiations with other countries to arrive at the conclusion. What must happen when another pandemic arrives? And coincidentally, the IGN was chaired by our former Director General of Health, Professor Lucius Matsoso. She was given the job to go to Geneva to negotiate this. Now, when ministers met in the World Health Assembly in May, we adopted this pandemic agreement, except that we are left with something very important, which is part of what you are doing, Morena, in Biovac. Something called PAPS. Pandemic Access and Benefit System. Because why these PAPS? Because ordinarily, or throughout history, pathogens are found here on the African continent. And scientists who want to study pathogens come here to our continent, study them, know everything about them, and fly out to produce pharmaceuticals on the basis of that knowledge. And we in Africa spend billions to buy those pharmaceuticals, which were developed right here on our continent, because nobody could develop them. Now, under this new PAPS agreement, which we are hoping the negotiations will have finished and will sign by the World Health Assembly next year in May, is that if a pathogen originates from my country and you come and study it and produce a pharmaceutical, surely I'm entitled to a portion of that. And that's why it was not signed immediately, because the world is not as easy as, yes, it's very difficult part of the world, because some people refuse, even though it looks so obvious. But that's exactly what we are asking for. That at least some percentage of the income you derive from that pharmaceutical must go to the World Health Organization to be distributed to other poor countries, and a portion to the country where the pathogen originated. So the fact that we can actually manufacture here on the African continent means it will be difficult for those people who were resisting, because we'll show them that we actually have capacity. We can do it. Program director, the focus of these pivotal clinical trials for the oral cholera vaccine could not be more timely. Cholera is a severe diarrheal disease caused by Vibrio cholera, often linked to unsafe water and poor sanitation. It can spread rapidly, causing serious illness and death if not treated. We are the first country on this continent to introduce in our vaccine program rotavirus vaccine and pneumococcal vaccine. There were no questions about the pneumococcal vaccine, and many of you may not know that since we introduced it, I think it was 2014, we reduced admission of children from pneumonia by a whopping 70%. Now, somebody asked when we introduced rotavirus, because just like cholera, it's a diarrheal disease. So somebody asked, are you guys giving up on providing clean running water when you resort to vaccines? Because yes, rotavirus and cholera simply means there's no clean running water. So they were saying, are we giving up and say we'll just vaccinate people and give them dirty water? And now this was a very good question. Very good question, because as some of you might know, the British Medical Journal, the Lancet, in their editorial in September 2013, it said, ever since human beings started populating this planet, health or health systems went through only two epochs. You may call them periods or whatever, but epochs, meaning a period of time. They say health went through only two such epochs. The first one, which happened early in the 17th century, was clean running water and sanitation, which we may take for granted. In the period before that, it was very easy to die. Those of you who read scientific history will know. Many women used to die very early. You read stories about women scientists throughout history who died at the age of 32, 40, etc. It's because of pregnancy and childbirth and no sanitation. They simply could die. Now, when this epoch of introducing clean running water and sanitation happened, life expectancy increased dramatically, perhaps more than even life expectancy increased in our country after we introduced the treatment for HIV. After we launched the world's biggest counseling, testing, and treatment campaign, you are aware that life expectancy increased in our country. But life expectancy also increased dramatically in the advent of clean running water. So the good question is, are we abandoning that? And coincidentally, the Lancet said the second epoch happened when vaccines started being introduced in the world. That was the second epoch, because we vanquished diseases even without funding their treatment. Of course, to complete my story, I need to mention that the Lancet was saying the third epoch is now arriving, and it's about universal health coverage, whereby people get treated, not because they've got money, but because they need treatment. Something which we call NHI in South Africa, which very mysteriously put us in court as if we were criminals. Very mysteriously. But of course, maybe I'm wrong to say it's mysterious, because we understand why. But the Lancet said that's the third epoch. It's going to change the world. And somebody asked, why don't you put things like heart transplant as an epoch, a change in human history? And of course, heart transplant was a very great innovation by our own Professor Christian Barnard. But as you know, it changes the course of individuals, not of populations. Epochs change the whole population. Even those who don't know about it, it affects them. Heart transplant, everybody who has got it will know that this thing exists. But the epochs of clean running water, or even vaccination, and even this cholera is going to change lives, even for people who don't know that today we said here in Bara and celebrated this moment. Their lives are going to change. And those are called epochs. So the Lancet was believing the issue of universal health coverage will be an epoch where we change the manner in which healthcare is financed. Because at the moment, we know it's not going to be sustainable, regardless of people taking us to court and all that. So although cholera is not an endemic in South Africa, but the country occasionally experiences sporadic cholera outbreaks triggered by imported cases of this preventable disease from our neighboring countries. And I'm sure you all know, when there's a cholera outbreak, it's never nice. Not nice at all. In recent years, South Africa has faced periodic cholera outbreaks, including tragic loss of life in some communities. These outbreaks remind us that cholera, not a disease of the past, as some people may think, it remains a public health threat that demands preparedness, prevention, and resilience. If we have a locally manufactured oral cholera vaccine, it will mean that we will be better equipped to protect vulnerable populations, respond quickly to outbreaks, and save lives. Cholera continues to threaten many countries and constitute a major global public health problem. According to the World Health Organization, an estimated 1.3 to 4 million people around the world get cholera each year, and 21,000 to 143,000 people die from it each year. Cholera outbreaks in South Africa date back to the 1970s, often linked to natural disasters and poor sanitation, as we said. The first confirmed case was reported in 1974, followed by annual outbreaks from 1980 to 1987, leading to over 25,000 cases and 348 deaths. After the 2023 deadly cholera outbreak in South Africa, the department reviewed the 2014 version of the National Cholera Guidelines to align with the Global Task Force of Cholera Treatment. The Global Task Force for Cholera treatment is a global strategy on cholera control, which was launched in 2017, focusing on ending cholera. The local vaccine production will also boost economic growth of our country through job opportunities, reduced import costs, and the development of skilled workforce. I've already asked Morena here, the CEO, when we were sitting in the waiting room, how many jobs? Because that's what people want. And he has already told me, and I've seen it on your slides, that you showed 350 people who are working for Biovac. And he told me that by 2030, there will be more than 700. And one of the contributing factors will be this cholera vaccine here that brought us here today. So we believe this initiative will also attract foreign investment and create more opportunities for government support and export. I wish to congratulate Biovac on this remarkable achievement. This milestone is a testament to South African excellence, to scientific dedication, and to the power of partnership between government, academia, and industry. I also wish to recognize South African Medical Research Council for its long outstanding and proven leadership in clinical research. The South African Medical Research Council impeccable record in managing clinical trials ensure that this important study will be conducted with the highest scientific and ethical standards. To Biovac, South African Medical Research Council, and all partners, congratulations once more. May these trials be successful and pave the way for a safe, effective, and proudly South African vaccine that will benefit our people in the world. These are very interesting times indeed, because there's going to be a triad of advancements which we have been waiting for centuries. We are waiting for the outcome of this clinical trial on oral cholera vaccine. Remember that we are also waiting for another clinical trial that is going on of M72, very promising TB vaccine for adults, which we believe will be completed by about 2028. It is being tried in 7 countries, amongst them Zambia, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malawi, South Africa, Mozambique. But what makes me proud is that 65% of the people who entered the trial are South Africans. And so we are contributing hugely to that trial. And we believe by 2028, we might find the results. The third development coming very early next year, as you know, lenacapavir, not a vaccine, but it's going to be like it because it's prevention. And I'm very happy that the first doses will arrive before the end of this year, and we will be able to start rolling lenacapavir as early as March or April next year. So you can imagine lenacapavir, cholera vaccine, TB vaccine. Oh gosh, we're heading somewhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honourable Minister, for that inspiring address and for putting into context for us just how critical this program is for our country and our continent. So with that, I'd like to thank all our distinguished speakers for your visionary leadership and commitment to scientific advancement in public health. Again, to acknowledge Honourable Deputy Minister of DSTI, CSO of the South African Medical Research Council, CEO Biovac, Honourable Minister of Health, MEC for Health in Gauteng, and CEO of Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital. I'd also like to acknowledge DDG of DSTI, Mr. Muefi. Thank you all. Your presence here today really does demonstrate to us your commitment to this remarkable and historic effort, and we appreciate your time and those wonderful remarks. So with this, we'd like to conclude the virtual section of our program. To our audience who've been joining us online, thank you very much for being part of this milestone event. You will receive a recording of today's program shortly, and we'd like to again appreciate your continued partnership and invite you to now disconnect from the session. And then to our guests in the auditorium, we're now going to proceed with the on-site launch of the actual clinical trial being conducted at PHRU with an official vaccination. I just want to take you through some of the logistics, though. So the exit procedure will be as follows. The Minister of Health, the Deputy Minister, and the other delegates and their delegations will exit first. Thereafter, we'll exit row by row, first starting from the front. And we will proceed to the PHRU clinic area where the trial will be officially launched with the administration of the vaccine to participants. And then after that, we'd like to invite you to proceed to a networking area where there'll be refreshments served. And we encourage you to mingle with and discuss the study and the program with the researchers, the partners, and the fellow attendees as we celebrate this important event. So as we close this segment, I would like to again extend our deepest appreciation to everyone, and that includes our government leaders, Biovac and the MRC leadership, the clinical teams, researchers and participants, and our valued partners and funders. Your collaboration brings life-saving vaccine innovation from aspiration to impact, and to quote what the Honourable Minister said, this is really about changing people's lives, and I think there's no truer words than that. We wish you a meaningful experience during the clinical trial launch and an engaging network session. And thank you very much again for being part of this really historic and remarkable milestone event. And with that, I close this session. Thank you.
said, hold my hand. Nothing will change tomorrow, man. Tomorrow, man. My friend. Nothing will change tomorrow, man. Tomorrow, man. Tomorrow, man. Tomorrow, man. Tomorrow, man. We stepped out in the morning, holding tight beneath the shade. We stuck our heads out and fired off the warning to fly out in the night. Keep your head out to the calling. If you make it with your hands, you will better understand. So keep your feet out to the calling. And if we take a stand and sever all our plans, she said, hold my hand. Nothing will change tomorrow, man. Tomorrow, man. My friend. Nothing will change tomorrow, man. Tomorrow. And I've been feeling cold inside. I'm a loaded gun. Maybe I'm a waste of time. Hey. And I know it's just a state of mind. You're the state I'm in. Oh, the state I'm in. And I wonder how I live this life. And I've been floating by myself for way too long. She said, hold my hand. Nothing will change tomorrow, man. Tomorrow, man. My friend. Nothing will change tomorrow, man. Tomorrow, man. Tomorrow, man. Tomorrow, man. tonight. Cause every night I realize I need you close to me. But every night I compromise, I lie
dawn, sung by the bird all suffering. Her wings are clipped, broken just to fit.